Hello everyone, this is Daniel from fitnessblender.com, and today we're going to be doing a lower body strength training routine specifically focusing on those glutes and thighs. Now this one is going to be very strength focused, more traditional strength than anything else, and we're going to be trying to focus on not just strength but also size depending on how much you want to lift, and that's up to you. So we have 3 different groups to go through. Our first 2 groups are going to have 4 exercises each. We're going to be doing it in an AB-AB pattern with 2 exercises back and forth, 3 sets per exercise, 45 seconds on, and a 15-second break interval. Now, the last group is actually going to be just 1 set through each exercise, again, 4 different exercises. And we'll be doing this for 60 seconds a piece with a 15-second break just to really tire out those muscles and burn them out on that last round. So we have your warm-up and your cool-down included, so you don't need to worry about either one of those. And all you're going to need to get this done is a set of dumbbells, although you can do this 100% body weight and still get a pretty good workout out of it for just overall toning. So with that said, let's go ahead and get started with our warm-up. All right, well, I forgot to hit record, so I'll be doing this warm-up twice, but for you, it's the first time through. We're gonna be starting with a side step and overhead reach. So nice big deep breath in, nice and slow, reach over top of your head, stretch it across, and same thing on the other side. If you have not been moving around much at all, start really nice and light, slow movement, small range of motion. But if you're already warm, like me, having to do this twice, then go ahead and push into a slightly larger range of motion, and you can even move a little bit faster as long as it's comfortable. Just make sure you're never out of control. It's always a slow, controlled movement, like you can stop at any moment and hold it there. All right, we're doing toe touch sweeps next. Feet really nice and wide. You drop down one side, touch that toe, off to the other side, and then back up. Nice and slow back down. Trying to really focus on stretching out those legs. We're focusing on those legs today, so that's what we want to focus on our warm-up. So all of these movements, even though they might have a little bit other parts of the body that we're working, the legs and hips are the things we're focusing on the most. All right, go ahead and let that relax. We're going to do a slow march, so nice and slow, 1 leg at a time. Bring that knee up. You want to bring your knee at least to hip height. If you can bring it higher, by all means do so. Again, just like I said earlier, start off relatively slow with a relatively small range of motion, then build into it as it's comfortable. If you're already warm and it feels comfortable to go for a full range of motion, then do so. Just kind of trying to challenge your maximum range of motion with each one of these warm-up exercises. All right, next is an ice skater. So we're going to be doing this on our left leg first. So right leg's planted, left leg up in front. Easiest version is just nice and just a little bit off the floor. Just back and forth. If you want it harder, or as you start to warm up a little bit more, bring that leg up a little bit more. Just make sure your torso is staying straight up and down. You're not compensating by tipping off to the side. Just keep going, nice and slow, under control. And let that relax. Same thing on the opposite side. So plant that left leg, right leg up off the ground. Just whichever version you can control. Try to match left to right, so whatever you did on the left side, do on the right side. Keep that movement going. Again, try to keep your torso straight up and down. Try to keep that balance as best you can. All right, doing a squat push-pull next. Nice and slow, squat down, press those hands out, pull them back in. Remember, we're focusing more on those legs today. So the upper body movement is just a little bit extra. Really focus on your form for that squat. So flat back, getting down nice and low, making sure your weight stays evenly distributed between your front or your toe and your heel, front and back of that foot. And make sure as you get nice and low, you don't let those hips wink or kind of tuck underneath you. All right, we're doing an alternating warrior next. So feet really nice and wide apart. Hands out to your side, turn one foot off, bend that knee. Come up, straighten that foot again, other foot turns out, then down to that side. Just alternating back and forth. Just keeping those arms up. Trying to get down into that side lunge as deeply as is comfortable for you. All right, doing a straight leg deadlift next. So bring those feet together, just about shoulder width apart, flat back, tipping straight forward. Go down as far as you can without a really big bend in those knees. You just want to come down, right back up. If you want to make it a little bit harder for yourself, bring those hands up above that head. He'll just add a little bit more weight from leverage. And let that relax. We're doing a single leg deadlift now. So plant that left leg first, right leg back behind you, nice and slow. Start with those hands out wide for balance. Tip forward and back up. Once you feel like you're comfortable with that, just start bringing those hands further forward until they're not helping as much with balance, but they are making it more challenging overall leverage and weight wise. Just watch those hips and don't open them up. You want to keep them straight down. Same thing on the other side. So plant that right leg. Nice and slow, tipping forward, arms out wide to start until you feel like you have your balance. And then, tip straight forward and back up. Again, watch that hip. Make sure you're not letting it open up. Finish off that last one and let it relax. All right, that is the end of our warm-up, which means we're going to be doing our strength set next, our first strength set. So go ahead and grab those dumbbells. Let's get ready for that. See you in just a second. All right, everyone, we're doing each one of these for 45 seconds on, 15 seconds off, and we're doing it in an AB pattern, starting off with a sumo squat and a curtsy lunge with a side leg lift. So sumo squat is first, feet really nice and wide apart. Bring those dumbbells either in front of those hips or up at those shoulders, whatever's more comfortable. And you're just going to turn those toes out about a 45, squat down nice and low, and right back up. So nice and slow, just squat down, nice deep movement, and then right back up. Just go as low as is comfortable for you. It all depends on how flexible that hip is. Just nice and slow, drop down, and back up. Try not to spend a whole lot of time with those legs locked out at the top. Keep them a little bit soft the entire time. Just keep those lungs open. Focusing on that form. Flat back. And let it relax. All right, we're doing a curtsy lunge. I'm actually going to keep the same weight here. So you're going to be stepping back behind you with one foot at a time and then bring it up and out to the side. So I'm going to do a stepping forward here. I'm going to step back behind myself, about a 45-degree angle behind myself, and then bring that leg up to the side. Stop in the middle, 45 off to the side, and up. Make sure you get a nice high leg raise each time. No tipping over from that torso. You are just stepping back behind yourself. Whoop. Trying to get that leg up as high as you can without tilting sideways. So all that work comes just from that outside thigh. Just keep those lungs open. Finish this one up. And switch back to that sumo squat. I'm going to give myself a little more weight here. So I'm bumping up 20 pounds per hand. That's just what I'm using today. It's not a suggestion of what you should use. So his feet really nice and wide apart, toes turned out about a 45-degree angle from one another. Nice and slow down. Right back up. Just take your time. Nice full, deep range of motion. If you can, try to get those thighs parallel to the ground. That's kind of your overall goal, but obviously it's all going to depend on how flexible those hips are. So don't push yourself past a comfortable point. A little tiny bit of discomfort's okay. Pain isn't worth it. You're just going to injure yourself and then you're not going to be able to work out again. So make sure you're protecting yourself at the same time as pushing yourself. All right, let that one relax. We're going back to that curtsy lunge. I'm going to drop this back. All right, back to 16 pounds per hand. And starting off with that curtsy lunge again, stepping back behind yourself, and then up, off to the side. Stepping back behind yourself, and up and off to the side. Keep those lungs open. Remember, try to tilt that torso over. Keep those lungs open, keep it moving. All right, got one more of each. I'm gonna bump my weight back up again here. So back to 20 pounds per hand. All right, doing that sumo squat, feet really nice and wide apart. Drop straight down the center. Right back up again. Keep those lungs open, keep that back flat, just dropping as low as is comfortable. Right back up again. Remember, those toes need to be pointed off about a 45-degree angle. So you want them pointing straight forward, and you want that knee tracking over top of that foot, over top of that ankle. Don't let it buckle in or tip out. Keep those lungs open. Just about 5 seconds left. All right, let that relax. Got one more of the curtsy lunge. Stand nice and straight and tall. And start back behind you, up and off to the side, back behind you, up and off to the side. Just take your time, focus on that form. Remember, evenly distributing your weight between your front and rear foot. Try not to let your weight shift towards your front leg. That's what it's going to want to do. You want to make sure that back leg's doing the work as well. Again, check that torso, make sure you're not leaning with that side leg raise. All right, let that relax. Move into a straight leg deadlift. Up my weight here. Start with 24 pounds per hand. Whoop. Grab the wrong weight there. All right. 24 pounds per hand, legs nice and straight, back flat, tip straight forward as far as is comfortable, and right back up again. You can let those knees bend slightly, but not much. You don't want to lock them out either, so make sure you're not doing this with a locked leg. It's nice flat back, tip straight forward as far as it's comfortable, right back up to the starting position. Continually check to make sure your lungs are staying open and your shoulders are pulled back. Let it relax. We're doing a reverse lunge, the front leg lift. Drop this back down. All right, so standing from here, you're going to do just a traditional reverse lunge. Come straight back up, same leg, come straight forward. And then opposite leg, lunge back, and leg up. Try to move slowly at first until you get that balance down. And then once you have your balance, you can speed up as long as you're not swinging anything out of control. Again, just like with our curtsy lunge, make sure you are evenly dispersing your weight between your front and your rear leg. That leg lift, you want to try to keep that leg as straight as you can, bring it up as high as you can. And let that relax. We're going to go back to that straight leg deadlift. Push my weight back up here. Go a little bit higher, up to 28 pounds per hand. Hip straight forward. And back up, nice and straight and tall. Very slight bend in that knee. Perfectly flat back. Pressing that chest forward the entire time to keep yourself from rounding that back. Just focus on that form. Nice, slow, controlled movements. Choosing what weight you choose is going to determine whether or not you're going to be doing a little bit more strength training, mass building, or just straight toning. So nice and light, moving a little faster is more toning. Moving more slowly with a heavier amount of weight is going to be more mass building. And then strength training is going to be in between. All right, so drop that. We're going back to that reverse lunge. Drop my weight again. Back down to 16 pounds per hand. All right, step back. And leg comes up straight in front. Step back. Leg straight up in front. Trying to let those hips tilt left to right. Keep them perfectly straight. Controlling those hips, those core muscles as best you can to keep everything nice and solid. If you want a little extra balance challenge on this one, you can actually do this whole thing without shoes on. Makes it actually a little bit more difficult on balance, but only if you're using lighter weight and only if you have this completely under control when you wear shoes. Get one more in there. All right, one more, or going back to that reverse lunge here. Let's go for, that straight leg deadlift. That's what we were doing. We just did that. So we got one more of each of these, starting with that straight leg deadlift. Sorry, getting a little confused here apparently. All right, nice deep breath. Drop it down as low as is comfortable. All right, back up again. Just keep those legs almost perfectly straight, but don't lock them out. Keep that chest pushed forward. If you want to get your breathing into it, it's going to inhale on the drop, exhale on the way up. But mainly, just don't hold your breath. You should never have your breath held at any point through this. It'll make that diaphragm and your core muscles have to work a lot harder. All right. Back to our reverse lunge here. All right, step back. And front leg raise. Step back. And front leg raise. You feeling any burning yet? Those muscles starting to feel fatigued yet? This is our last one for group 2 or group 1. We'll get you a little bit of a water break after this is done. And then we'll come back for group 2. More lovely torture. All right. Keep those lungs open. Let's go do one more on the other side. Even them out. And let it relax. All right, drop those weights. Go grab a drink of water. We'll be right back to start into group number 2. See you in just a second. All right, let's go and get ready for group number 2. Same rough structure as group number 1, just all new exercises. Starting off with a basic squat. Grab your dumbbells for that. Go ahead and pull those dumbbells up to your shoulders. We're going to drop straight down, as low as is comfortable, right back up again. Make sure that those knees are tracking over top of those ankles. You want the angle of your chest and the angle of your shin to be identical. And you want your weight evenly distributed between your toe and your heel. This is a traditional basic squat. If you are leaning too much on your toe or too much on your heel, that's a modification of a traditional squat. This is the traditional basic form. Flat back, weight evenly distributed, shin and chest at the same angle as you drop down. Let that relax. We're gonna go ahead and do a side lunge next. We're gonna do it alternating. Actually, I'll just go ahead and use the same amount of weight. I'm gonna go ahead and pull those dumbbells back up to my shoulders. Feet nice and wide. We're going to do a side lunge off to one side. Actually, let's stop in the middle. So a side lunge off to one side, back to the center. Side lunge off to the other side, back to the center. If it feels more comfortable, you can also let these dumbbells sit right in front of those hips. Just make sure as you step out, that knee tracks over top of that toe and ankle as far as is comfortable for that position. Whew. Starting to drift a little bit here. Let that relax. Moving back to a basic squat. Go ahead and leave that same amount of weight. All right. Pull those dumbbells up to the shoulders. Again, nice clean squat form. Drop straight down, knees tracking over top of those ankles. Flat back, angle of shin and chest should be the same. Make sure you're not rounding those shoulders forward. Again, same thing with this one. You can let those dumbbells drop to your sides if that's more comfortable. So whatever works for you. Just watch those knees. Try to keep them as stationary as possible so they don't buckle in or out. Right, drop those for just a second. All right, we're moving to that side lunge again. Go ahead and do it the way I was wanting to originally. Get those feet out really nice and wide. Drop off to the side, up, drop off to the side, and back up. It's a little bit easier for that overall travel. You don't have to push quite as much weight into each leg. So feel free to switch back to the other style, but this is also just fine. Just track that knee over top of that ankle. "15 seconds left. Just focus on that form. Flat back. All that movement just coming from that hip and knee. Let that relax. All right, back to our basic squat. We got one more of each of these. All right, grab those dumbbells. And traditional squat, feet just about shoulder width apart, straight down, straight back up. Keep that back flat, chest pressed out forward in front of you, shoulders pulled back, knees track directly over top of that ankle and toe. Match the angle of that chest with the angle of those shins. Weight evenly distributed between your toe and your heel. Keep those lungs open, no holding your breath. All right. A little bit of a break here. We're going to do another round of that side lunge. Keep that same weight here. And go back to that harder version here. So feet starting nice and close together. Drop out, back up, drop out, back up. Keep those lungs open, No holding your breath. Just kind of those dumbbells up at that rack position up on your shoulders. Starting to breathe heavy yet? My lungs are starting to let me know that I'm sucking up a lot of oxygen with these movements. Let that relax. All right, we're moving to our next 2 exercises, which is going to be a straight leg deadlift. I'm gonna up my weight here a little bit. All right, we're doing a wide straight leg deadlift with your toes out. Go straight forward, back up. So movement of the upper body is exactly the same as a traditional straight leg deadlift, but this time you're doing with those feet at least shoulder width, preferably double shoulder width apart. Toes pointed out about a 45-degree angle from one another. Keep those legs relatively straight. Slight bend in those knees, but don't lock your knees out. Flat back, chest pressed forward. And let that relax. All right. Next is a staggered squat. This one's going to be alternating. Drop my weight here a little bit. This one's going to feel a little bit weird at first. If you've never done one before, make sure you drop that weight. Your feet are going to be back at about a 45-degree angle, almost a lunge, but a little bit wider. And back up. Same thing off to the other side. So straight on looks like this, just a little bit of a side step. But you're trying to go down directly in between those legs, not to one to the front or the rear. Just trying to even it out. Show you what it looks like from the front again, or from the side, I mean. Yeah, I don't know about you, but I can definitely feel my oxygen levels starting to give out a little bit. All right, let that relax. We're going back to that straight leg deadlift. Nice and wide. I'm gonna bump that weight up just a smidge. I'm using 28 pounds per hand here. Feet double shoulder width, toes pointed out, straight forward with a flat back, chest push forward. Just keep those lungs open. If you want to get your breathing into it, it's inhale on the way down, exhale on the way up. But mainly, just don't hold your breath. Always keep those lungs open. Keep checking that back. Only go as low as you can control with a flat back. Any extra movement is just gonna be your lower back working. We don't want that. All right, set those back up. We're doing a staggered squat again. Alternating back and forth. Those legs nice and tired. It's gonna feel awkward doing this, but just a slight step backward, lunge down. Slight step backward and to the side. Squat down between those legs. It's basically like a cross between a lunge and a squat. It's not a full lunge because you're not stepping back far enough. But it's not a squat because those feet aren't even. Try to evenly disperse those legs. Whew. Yeah, those legs are getting tired. All right, set those dumbbells back up. I got one more round of each one of these. Then we get another water break. Doing that deadlift. Feet nice and wide, toes out. Straight down, back up. Check that form. Slight bend in those knees, no walking them out. Toes out at 45. Feet shoulder width apart, or double shoulder width apart. Back flat, chest push forward. Down as low as you can go. Nice tight squeeze up at the top. All right, drop those dumbbells. We got one more exercise to go. All right. This one's been feeling a little bit awkward, which it will. It's just a weird exercise. I'm gonna try to make it a little different here. Pull those dumbbells up to the shoulders, a little bit back, drop straight down. A little bit back, drop straight down. All right, that feels better. Having those dumbbells down to my sides was making the movement feel a little awkward, so just modify as you need to. All right, that was the end of group number 2, which means we have another water break. We'll be right back to do group number 3, which is our burnout round. So I'll see you in just a second for that. All right, everybody, this is our last strength set here. This is our burnout round. 4 exercises, just 1 minute apiece, starting off with a double lunge pulse. I'm gonna grab my weights here. I'm just gonna be using 16 pounds per hand. Just gonna step forward, drop down into that lunge, pulse twice, and then come back up. So down, 1, 2, back up. Just keep alternating back and forth. Try to spend as little time up here in the standing position as you can. Mainly focusing on that movement. Remember, this is our last group here, so really challenge yourself. Push yourself as hard as you can to really wear those muscles out. Whew. I'm definitely feeling mine. They're feeling jello-y already. I know I'm going to be nice and sore tomorrow. I'll be surprised if I'm not. All right, just keep it going. 10 seconds left. Try to keep that pulse as low as you can. All right, let that relax. Drop these weights here. We're not going to be using them again. Just go ahead and drop down onto your hands and knees. If you're doing this on a hard surface, a mat would be helpful, but you don't necessarily have to have one. So on hands and knees, or elbows and knees, your left leg's gonna be back behind you. Lift it up, squeeze, pulse twice. Down, barely tap, up, pulse twice the top. Tap, and pulse twice. Just keep that movement going. Try to get as much range of motion out of this as you can. No quick jerky movement. You want a nice slow movement through this. You can do this with a bent knee if those legs are starting to give out on you to make it a little bit easier. Or if you want it to be harder, you can always grab a pair of ankle weights. That's up to you. Just get a nice tight squeeze, double pulse at the top. 10 seconds left, just keep it going. And let that relax. Sit back in those heels for a second, stretch out that glute. We'll do the same thing on the opposite side here. So come back up on those elbows or hands. Extend that right leg out back behind you. And start it up. Bring that leg up. Pulse twice. Back down. Barely tap. Right back up again. Pulse twice. And back down. Make sure as those glutes start to give out on you, you're not opening your hips up. You're trying to keep those hips facing straight down towards the mat or towards the floor. Trying to get as much range of motion at the top of that range as you can without letting your back sway down. You want to keep a nice neutral spine. So basically what I mean by that is when you get to the top, don't arch your back to get a little extra range of motion. Just tight squeeze without tilting those hips. Almost done. Just about 5 seconds left. And let that relax. All right, roll over onto our back. We got one more to kill those glutes. This is just a traditional bridge. All right, if you want, you can grab a dumbbell and set it on those hips to make it harder. Otherwise, you just do body weight, pressing those hips up as high as you can, down with a little bit of a hover, right back up again. Just keep pushing through that full range of motion. Heels up as close to your butt as is comfortable. If you want to challenge that core a little bit more in this, hands directly above your shoulders, peeling those shoulder blades up off the ground ever so slightly. You can challenge that balance even more by bringing those knees in nice and close together. Or sorry, those heels and knees. Both, actually. Tight squeeze at the top. Every single repetition. Pressing your weight into those heels. Make sure you're not coming up onto those toes. If you're feeling it in your calves, it means you're pushing way too much weight into your toes. Try to peel those toes up off the ground. One more squeeze in there. Bring it up. Tight, tight, tight squeeze. And let it relax down nice and slow. All right. We'll be right back to start into our cool down and stretch. See you in just a second. All right, everyone. All we have left is our cool down stretch. So we're going to be doing each one of these for 30 seconds apiece, starting off with an overhead reach and bend, just alternating. Take a nice deep breath in, bring those hands up, and stretch over the other side, and back down. Again, up. Start the opposite side, over, and let that relax. One more time, deep breath in, stretch, and same on the other side. Let that relax. All right, standing quad stretches next. Lean up against a piece of furniture or wall if you need some help with balance. Heel to butt. Standing straight up and tall. Pull that knee back behind you to feel that stretch to the front of that thigh. Just pull that heel to your butt as close as comfortable. Don't over compress it. You don't want that knee to feel funny. You want all that feeling to be just in that thigh. So if you're feeling your knee, feeling odd sensation in your knee, just let it open up a little bit more. All right, same thing on the other side. Opposite heel comes up the butt. Pull that knee back. Again, keep that torso straight up and down. Just breathing normally. Ooh, about to fall over here. Let that relax. All right, we're moving in to a toe touch. So feet just about shoulder width apart. We're just going to drop straight down to those toes. Tip those shoulders back and forth. Find that stretch you're looking for. Keep those legs straight. You mainly want to feel this through those hamstrings. Maybe a little bit into the back of that knee, but primarily in that hamstring, the back of that thigh. Just down as low as is comfortable, keeping those legs nice and straight. Don't let them bend out. All right, stand back up. We're doing inside thigh stretch, so feet really nice and wide apart. Turn one foot off to the side. Bend that knee, not really deep, and lean back towards your straight leg. Drop that hip down towards the ground as much as you can. You should feel it jump in that inside thigh underneath that leg there. So you're just going to tip sideways as much as you can. This isn't about how much you lunge to the side. You just need a little bit of a bend in that knee. It's more about how much you tip those hips down. And we're going to do the same thing on the other sides. Bend that opposite knee. Lean back towards that straight leg. Press that hip down as you tilt. Don't literally push on it. Try to just use those muscles in those hips to kick sideways. Drop it down. Feel that stretch on the inside of that thigh. You're dropping down on the ground for this next one. Let that relax. Go and drop down on the ground. Wow, kick your left leg out. You stretch down towards that toe, then open that chest up and bring that other hand over top. So we're getting a little bit of a hamstring stretch, but also stretch that torso. As it starts to loosen up on you, just push into it more and more and more. It's about challenging yourself and where your range of motion is. If you can stretch further than me, do so. If you are not as limber as I am, just push to the part that is the depth that is comfortable for you. So same thing on the other side. Chest open towards the wall in front of you. Again, just let it stretch out. The more that stretches, the more you want to lean into it. All right, on your back for the last two. Right leg over top of your left. Grab behind your left thigh and pull in. You should feel a stretch in your right hip. Deep into your right hip. You might feel a little bit through the outside of that thigh, but primarily in that hip. Just pull in as close as comfortable. Again, make sure you're grabbing behind your thigh and not on the front of your shin. You don't want to compress your knee. Same thing on the other side. Switch sides. Left leg over top. Grab behind that right thigh and pull in. Again, depending on where you're tight, you might feel this up into your thigh, maybe back of your thigh, side of your thigh. But primarily, you should be feeling this deep inside of that hip socket and that glute muscle. All right, let that relax. All right, that was our last stretch, which means this workout is complete. Thank you everyone for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this routine and those legs are feeling nice and jello-y like mine are. If not, just check what you're doing next time you come through this. Were you lifting enough weight? Were you moving slowly enough? Were you letting yourself cheat in any way? So always double check your form. If you're not feeling the way you think you should after a routine, chances are there's something you can do to rectify that the next time you come through. So thank you everyone very much for watching with me, or watching and doing this routine along with me. I'll see you next time. Bye everyone.